Yeah, I think I've got a pretty standard family life to most Asians whose family immigrated. I would say,
Mm.
Dad owned a Chinese restaurant like most families, and yeah, family immigrated back in the 70s. So I think it's pretty standard that way. But the only difference is dad and mum actually decided instead of moving to Brisbane, where most Asian kind of moved to, they actually moved to the Sunshine Coast.
Yep.
And so that kind of changed up my whole upbringing, and that's why I guess most Asians in Brisbane or family friends that do live in Brisbane would call me a banana, is because I guess I grew up on the Sunshine Coast, and so that was kind of the only difference. Like everything else would be very similar. But I think it's just the geographical location of where I grew up would be the difference.
Do you know if that was like a conscious decision? Did they know that was going to be like the impact, that there weren't going to be a lot of Asians there, or was it just land wherever you can type of deal?
Don't know. I spoke to Dad about that recently, and he kind of said that he didn't like the Asian culture in a sense. Like, some Asians can be real showy, with their money, and they kind of judge success with the clothes that you wear or, the car that you drive. And so Dad didn't like that. Had heaps of Asian family and friends around, but just didn't want to be around that culture. And so he decided to move to the Sunshine Coast. But I don't know if that was the sole reason at the start, but that's kind of what he mentioned recently to me when I asked.
Yeah, I'd say there's probably a few factors there, but like we're talking a little bit off camera, we both grew up in predominantly white situations, and that's probably shaped our bananaisms, if you want to call it. Amber Rose, you touched on it at the start there. You said you didn't really grow up around a lot of non-white people.
Yeah.
I guess what was your upbringing like? Was it again fairly standard or?
Fairly standard in the sense of community around me. I didn't grow up a Christian, and I'm a Christian now. I come from a broken family, so my parents are split. I have two sisters, so I kind of just grew up in like an all-girls family, my mum and my two sisters and I.
Yeah.
And my community was just like school. I don't really remember having any Asians in my grade, to be honest.
Yeah, at all. Not
at
even
all.
friends, just not.
Yeah, I don't, and I had a big grade. I had about 240 people in my grade alone, and I don't remember any Asians in that group of people. So, yeah, my upbringing was pretty standard and just not very culture-filled, I'd say. I didn't travel very much because it was just my sisters, my mum and I, really. So we didn't have the opportunity to really travel. So it just wasn't around me.
Yeah.
It's kind of the sunny coast, eh? There's not too many Asians. I guess back in the day, like even when I went to school, there was only, I think, one other Asian
was
in
he
my
your brother?
grade.
Yeah.
In your grade, but in the school?
Yeah, there was pretty much only like 2-3 Asians like in the whole school. So you kind of feel, I guess, left out, or you feel like you're different growing up. And I remember feeling that way, feeling different growing up and kind of wanting to be white or wanting to be Australian, and there was a time growing up, and like even my parents were like, are you ashamed to be Asian? Like, are you, you don't want to speak Vietnamese or, things like that. You that kind of affects you growing up, you want to fit in. And I think that was a big challenge growing up in that kind of situation.
I can 100% relate. Similar feelings, exact the same thing where, it's hard enough just trying to be a teen. Yeah. And then you throw in that you are a very, very stark minority.
Yeah.
Trying to navigate all that can definitely warp the way you feel. But, as you get older, you get confident, you get to know yourself a bit better.
For sure.
Those sorts of things. So I know sort of family friends wise, you're obviously a family friend of my wife's and, brother-in-laws. So you had them around.
Yep.
Other than that, did you have many other Asian friends or?
No, none. Anything? Literally none.
Yeah.
It's just the family and friends that my parents made. They're kind of the only, Asian friends that I did have, and it was great. Like, we clicked. We had so much in common, so we obviously clicked straight away when we met when we were I think we were, 6 or 7 years old.
Yep.
So it's been quite a few years now. But yeah, they're like, I would say they would be like the closest friendships that I have. They're more like family, just because we can relate so much, and we have so much in common. We got such a deep friendship with our family friends.
And then family-wise, sorry, just keep peppering you here, but family-wise, was it just your parents? Did you have any cousins or anything?
Yeah. We got cousins, but with the whole Asian culture, it's different to Australian culture. I found like Asian culture, there's more of a hierarchy, so you never really, well, for me personally, I don't know about you, but we never really had that relationship with uncles because they were always at the level of the parents, and same with like
nothing but respect.
Yeah, it's nothing like, so you can't really have a decent conversation or a relationship with them because they're always hanging out, with your dad or your mum, and even at family gatherings, it'd be the kids just hanging out. And then the adults were hanging out, and then when we eat, there'd be kids' table, and then there'd be an adults' table, and so the relationship with cousins and uncles, it's not as close. I don't find compared to Australians, because you can have that, it's more of a relational and a friendship in a sense, like with uncles and aunties. I just never got that in I guess our culture.
Yeah, you can call your white uncle by his first name, and
yeah. You don't have to bow every time you enter the house.
And then Ambrose, for you then, so did you have many, like, how big was your extended family? I know you said it was just yourselves, like your mum, your sister.
Yeah, I'd say growing up, we didn't really have much extended family around us. Most of our family is back in New South Wales.
Yep.
And I think that meant that we grew up pretty secluded, and I wouldn't say we're close to our extended family. So even now, I struggle with like that relationship going further than your immediate family sometimes, because I'm just so used to your immediate family being the family, and then everyone else is kind of distant. And yeah, I have family friends who are like auntie and uncles and cousins, and they're probably our closest people to us. But yeah, we didn't grow up with much family around. It was more so just like friends.
And then what's it like when you come to like just our house, for example, and there's like 70 people and they're all related?
It's actually amazing. Like for me, it's really special, and I think I probably hound Nui a lot to like try and be there at family gatherings and whatnot when we're invited, because I didn't have it and I want Haven to have it.
Yeah.
And so it's somewhat awkward for me because like I'm an outsider, even more so than like some of the people that come to the gathering are actually all family.
Yep.
And Nui and Andrew are the ones that aren't actually family. And then I'm married into that. So I'm an outsider.
Yeah.
But I still always want to be there because to me, you guys are all family. Like to Nui, you've always been family. And it means that Haven gets to grow up with that huge chaos that I never had.
Yep.
So I love it.